I decided to devote this video to the best films of 2015 so far. Now we are more than halfway through. Now we are more than halfway through the year. Wait, is that right? Yeah. We are a little bit more than halfway through the year, and I think it's time to recount some of my favorite movies of this past year. Now, I don't have a list. I just want to say the ones that are my favorite. I might say my favorite, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Now, the first film that I really did, that I ever think I saw in 2015 that I liked was drums. Kingsman The Secret Service. I was actually really excited for this movie. I know it was actually delayed, which was a little bit of a worry thing. Usually when it's delayed, that's a really bad thing. And while this movie wasn't perfect, I did have a lot of fun with it. It was a very fun movie. It's typical Matthew Vaughn with the over-the-top violence, but it had so much entertaining action. It's a fitting homage and a fitting, I guess, maybe in a way a parody, I don't know, of James Bond. It's a young version of James Bond, but also has its own, it also finds its own footing. It stands on its own. It's entertaining. Samuel Jackson is cool. I mean, he's actually awesome. The action sequences are fun and entertaining, and there's a lot of great R-rated sweetness to it. Yay. I have to say, this is one of his best, this is his most entertaining film since maybe, I guess, X-Men First Class. But if you're going to be R-rated wise, Kick-Ass. Is there going to be a Kick-Ass 2? Kick-Ass 3 on the way, with you directing it? I didn't think Kick-Ass 2 was that bad. I just was a little disappointed. Yeah, that's not great to hear. You don't want to hear that stuff. But whatever, let's get into it. Let's just, get some stuff going. I'm trying to find some films that I watched, because I didn't remember every film I watched, but I'm hopeful to find some. I think Kingsman was actually the first film I saw that came out in 2015, which is kind of cool. Okay, another one I got was McFarlane USA. Now this one, I gave Kingsman a 4.5 out of. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I still haven't read a review for it yet. I don't think I've reviewed it yet, but also I've watched McFarlane USA, and let me tell you, a lot. My mom loves this film. She loves sports films. She also loves Kevin Costner, though he's a likable guy. How could you not? But one thing I could say is that this film is a very entertaining film. It's one that is very familiar, has a familiar, predictable formula, but it does it well thanks to a talented cast, a talented crew. And one thing is, you have a likable star in Kevin Costner. The kids were pretty cool, and also it is inspirational, and it does manage to have that old-fashioned heart to it that I do enjoy. I've not seen films like Bull Durham or Field of Dreams that he also starred in, which I guess will give me a lot of hate here and massive dislikes, but whatever. I do like some of his. I did like this film. I think I give a 4 out of 5 because it does get draggy a bit, and you do know where it's going, so that kind of derails it a bit. Maybe be a little too harsh on it, but I'll go back and look at it. Damn it. Where the hell is it? This is going to take me a while because I haven't seen... Now, another one is Furious 7. This is the 7th installment in the Fast and Furious series, and directed by James Wan, written by Chris Morgan, starring Vin Diesel. Paul Walker in his last role, though. They also did some CGI with him and his stand-ins, his brother, his stunt double, shit like that. Also, you have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, though he's not in the film that much, was a little bit of a disappointment, and Jason Statham. Ludacris. Yeah. Tyrese Gibson. Michelle Rodriguez. Yeah. It has basically the typical over-the-top, illogical stunt work of the Fast and Furious movies, especially 5 and 6. And in my opinion, it does a little bit more. It adds a lot of over-the-top thrills while also having some surprising drama. And I thought it worked well for the most part. While I do think the action sometimes had a little bit too much was cut a little too much, I do think that even with those issues, I still enjoyed the film because at least it still had a bit more to it. And what I'm saying is I enjoyed it a lot. It was so much entertaining fun. And also, it was a faint tribute to Paul Walker. I loved the tribute at the end. It was well handled and actually was very emotional. And for this is a good last film for him, because I heard Brick Mansions was awful, was terrible, and I think it's good to, you know, they thank God they didn't cancel it, because that would have been an awful film to leave him on. And I love the, and while I do think change, and I do think what could this film have been if it wasn't for his death? Rest in peace, Paul Walker. You know, you died too soon. You had much more to offer us, especially in the Fast and Furious series. You might could have given us some great acting talent in some films. Who knows? I would like to see more of you. And I miss you, man. We all do. We wish it didn't happen. But we are happy that this film paid a fitting tribute to you and was your final film. This is the franchise you've grown up with, and we've been growing up with. This is my favorite in the franchise. I don't know. Fast 5 was a lot of fun. Fast and Furious 6 was not as great as 5. Fast and Furious 7 offered up a lot more, but offered up some dramatic weight to it, and I have to say I did like that. Could it be my favorite? It might be, but I have to figure that out for myself. Yeah. Another one I saw was It Follows. This is an independent horror film that was in limited release for a while, then got wide release. And I think it's been getting a bit of a cult following. And while it's not while it is so far, it is my favorite horror film of this year. Though I think it might be kicked, its ass might be kicked once Crimson Peak hits October 16th. So yeah, it is still really good though. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 because I didn't find it incredibly terrifying, but I was still excited for it because it looked cool. It is very tense, like very intense. Has a great score. Seriously, it just also reminds you a bit of Halloween in terms of cinematography and the score. It has that electric score. It's well shot. It's well acted. It has a unique premise. It's very creative. It's something. It's fresh to see. It's a refreshing horror film, and it's nice to see stuff like this. The only issue with the film is that, you know, it's just not incredibly terrifying. While it did leave me on the edge of my seat, there was a jump scare in there. Luckily, they didn't use that loud, you know, booming, that loud noise. That was a false scare that wasn't overdone. It was a false scare handled well. I have to say, for an independent horror film, this does stand out a lot from the usual pack of today's massive big budget scare fests, which really I heard are not scary, terrible horror films. Also, the fucking found footage, and luckily I didn't see the gallows. I heard that was awful. So yeah, I'm hoping for Crimson Peak to be my favorite. This might be, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Another one is While We're Young. Now, I did talk about this in my Movies in August video, and let me tell you, this is one of the best comedies of the year so far. Why do I like it so much? Because it's just really entertaining. It's one that looks at the generation gap perfectly. It's also, I kind of like how it refers to it. Usually, like, when we think about it, it's usually like all these young people, all the younger people are just so obsessed with technology. Oh my god, it's amazing. Oh my god. And then adults, they take it like, oh, it's nonchalant and shit. Oh my god, technology's awful. We gotta destroy it. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating on that. I have no idea. But we can all say, I think we can all agree on the misconception or the so-called belief that teens just love or still obsessed with electronics. Now, I am filming this on a camcorder. And I am using my phone sometimes because I am amateur. I don't do a lot of research. But you also may say that even doing the research, I'm also overusing my technology. Although still, I don't need glasses. So far at this point, I don't need glasses. Lucky me. Actually, I'm really surprised. I've been toning down the brightness. Maybe that's helping me a little bit. Maybe it's reducing my need of glass. Maybe I won't need glasses for a couple more years. Who knows? Well, let's wait and see. But yeah, While We're Young was a really good film. It is an independent film that's a little draggy, but I have to say, it's really funny. Ben Stiller is great. Naomi Watts is also really funny. There's actually one scene involving like a pop, like a pop dance class or something like that, like a jazz dance. Kind of like hip hop dance class. Like whenever she goes with Amanda Seyfried to there, who's one of the younger people that they hang out with. They also hang out with Adam Driver, who really is good. I'm just wondering how could he do as Kylo Ren in Star Wars Episode 7. I really am hoping that he'll do good. But I mean, you have J.J. Abrams, and who knows? Adam Driver is talented. I mean, sure, it showcases more of his, his comedic talent, but he does have some dramatic talent to him. He is a bit dramatic in films like, in the show Girls, and even here. Ben Stiller also is pretty funny. I do love the chemistry between all the four of them. I do like their dynamics, even when they're like, you know, it's so entertaining. Amanda Seyfried is great, so is Adam Driver. Also, like, whenever the thing is involving like the misconception, like Adam Driver and Amanda Seyfried love the old-fashioned stuff, like records. You know? Records, record players, old TVs, I think, or something like that. Mostly, I think, related to records itself. They love some of the... They're kind of fascinated with the older technologies that have kind of grown obsolete in this generation. But they remain collectibles. And one thing you can say about here is that these guys are obsessed with their texting too. And there's actually one scene in the movie where they want to remember something. And one says, oh, we could just look it up. We can Google it. It said, no. Let's try to remember. Why do I like that scene so much? Because it just showcases that you don't need that technology. You don't really need it. It's just better to try and really use your imagination to really think. I kind of miss stuff like that. Because, I mean, we can just look up shit online. We don't need to remember that shit. It is kind of sad, though. Because, I mean, there's a lot of smart people are kind of almost like throwing their intelligence away just the fact that the internet can help them. Oh my god, the internet's amazing. I can get all this information from there. It's just kind of sad. And that is one scene that really stands out to me. It speaks a lot. There's a lot more behind it than just the fact that it is a scene that these people are trying to remember. If you remember the premise about it, or remember the ideas, or what it's trying to explain to you through visuals, I mean, not like, you know, like, I mean, it's kind of it, there are, like, involving through the situations that occur in the movie, that sounds a little better. It kind of explains that. I give the film a 4.5 out of 5. I think maybe a little too harsh because I didn't find anything really bad with this film. It's actually really good. I think it was actually really, really good. But there are a few issues with this film. It is a bit draggy at times. And yeah. Maybe I could be a little too harsh on it. I'll need to go back and look at it. Because I think it's a really good film. I had so much good time with it. But, you know. And I never was bored with it. That was really funny. Noah Baumbach does a great job. I really am happy with this film. Yeah. Happy. Another is Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, let me tell you about this. This film is not my favorite, and it doesn't surpass the Avengers, which I think is impossible. But I did like the Age of Ultron a lot, but there are a few issues I had with this film. Basically the fact that I felt like, you know, Ultron's introduction and turn towards evil was a bit too rushed. There are some scenes that feel like setups to other Marvel films, and also it just really isn't the first one. And also Quicksilver is not as awesome as the one in X-Men Days of Future Past. I know it's kind of a weird comparison knowing the fact that these two franchises are owned by two different production companies, but yeah, I mean, Quicksilver is still cool in Age of Ultron, don't get me wrong. Some of the accents, in my opinion, didn't work for me. Elizabeth Olsen I thought was kind of cool. Aaron Taylor Johnson was kind of cool. Their accents were a little distracting though, so really I think being 5 out of 5 is being way too nice. I can give really a 4.5 out of 5. That'd really be it. But it also has great special effects work. The cast is great. There's some great fantastic action sequences. Some of the best visual effects work they've done, actually. It's just so much fun, and I am so excited for Civil War. Knowing the fact that it's actually going to start dealing with the consequences of all this destruction that's happening, I love to see how that plays out. I'm so excited. And to know that Ant-Man's involved in it? Yeah, I like to see how that goes. But yeah, that's cool. Now this is one that's not that great, but it wasn't bad. I actually liked it. Pitch Perfect 2. I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5. I did like some of the, it just didn't feel like the first one. Now I didn't love the first one, I thought it was really good. It was really funny, the cast was great, I had so much fun with it. But Pitch Perfect 2 could have been a little bit more than basically the same shit. And while the cast was good, I do think Haley Steinfeld was wasted a little bit because she was kind of awkward at times. I mean, sure, she had some of her moments, and she was also great with vocals. I mean, she's really a good singer, actually. I thought she was a little bit wasted because she just really had some awkward scenes in the movie. Also, I do think that I feel like they could have expanded upon some things such as, okay, growing up and growing past the Bellas, you know, like the future, you know, after you leave the Bellas, what are you going to do after that? There is a lot of funny moments in this movie, don't get me wrong. Rebel Wilson still is the standout in this movie. But I do think this movie can be a little bit more in terms of its subplots. It basically just throws them in there, and they're there for the sake of being there. It's kind of a little disappointing, and it really gets on my nerves. I mean, ow, shit, it really hurts. Oh. Anyways, I did have some issues with this film. But I ended up doing a picture over 3, and I'm hoping they could do something with there, expand more on the subplots that they didn't really truly establish, that they introduced but never, I think, truly grounded or really that established that much in the movie. I just like to see more of that. You know, like Becca's job, growing past the getting older, growing past the Bellas. You know, I like to see that. This is going a little bit long, guys. I'm going to actually stop it here. This is part 1 for Best Movies of 2015 so far. I'm going to do a part 2. And yeah, we'll get back to that. Now, I may skip some that came out a couple months ago, but I'm going to save those for getting higher on my list. So no, I just breezed past by, especially like Age of Ultron, feeling like, okay, it's on your top 10. I kind of almost breezed past it because I did have a few flaws with it. It's not perfect, although what is? But anyways, though, I have to say, I did, you know, part 2 will be coming out soon. Well, part 2 might just be uploaded the same day as this. But anyways, guys, comment below. What are your favorite films of the year so far? Did you like some that I didn't talk about? Did I miss some that you liked? Comment below in the comment channel for more videos.